Nice.
It would help if I wasn't on mute. What a way to start the day. That's the first time you all might have seen the video, so I'm really enjoying your faces. Thank you everyone for who's joining us, whether you're in LinkedIn, Instagram, I hope that's worked, YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So my name is Litt, and some of you may know me, but I'm just going to give you all some context as to kind of why we're all here today with these amazing faces around me. So anybody that's followed my journey will know that it's been a hell of a ride the last couple of years, not just for me, but for a lot of people. But one thing that I was rooted in was my purpose. And I am blessed and lucky enough to have these three women, plus Miriam, who can't make it today. It seems to be germ season, in my life. So I brought these fantastic women together to create something quite special. So I guess I'm the person in the middle that was blessed to know you all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But I knew it would be something magical, and I don't want to say I was right, but yeah, I was right. So that's kind of how we're all here today, because I really wanted to show everyone and ourselves what kind of sisterhood looks like, but also people that wouldn't necessarily you wouldn't see together and wouldn't come together here in one space, creating some magic because we have a shared purpose. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to let the ladies introduce themselves. So Trina, you are this
to the left, to the left. No, I'm joking.
Basically, yeah.
Well, hello, ladies, and welcome everybody who's coming on to support us on this amazing weaving of worlds and rise of the matriarchy. I am excited to be amongst these powerhouses of women, as it said in the introduction. And my name is Trina Tree Casey. Most people call me Tree, so it's something that's been a part of my life since I was a kid. I don't know what it is. And I happen to be obsessed with trees, so it kind of works. But it also kind of expresses the trinity of what I believe in, which is mind, body, spirit alignment. That is my specialty. What I do is I encourage people to cultivate a polymathic mind. And I'm often asked, what does cultivate a polymathic mind is? Well, obviously cultivate, you want to gather up. And polymath is a person that knows a lot about a lot of different subjects. And what I have found is that the hegemony and its evil wisdom has always tried to box us in. If you only have a specialty in this area and this area and this area, you don't know what the other areas are doing. So it is a typical divide and conquer. So the more that you know about a lot of different subjects, the better you are to understand how to connect them. Okay. And that's with people as well. The more that you know about another culture, the more that you understand how much you have in common, not difference. So that's what cultivate a polymathic mind means. And I'm excited to be here just to share what I've learned and what I understand about this beautiful world coalescing mind, body, and spirit.
Thank you, Tree. And may quite possibly blow your mind with her wisdom, but she still does every time I speak to Trina. And yeah, I don't know why we have comments next to you, so I'm just trying to figure it out. Sorry, everyone, I am not the best technologically. This is our first time.
I think it's the top. I think it's the bottom corner. That's what the corner I was in.
Yeah, but I don't know why it's on the screen. But anyway.
That's all right. All right.
So,
Sue?
Yeah, over to you, Sue.
So I'm going to say I've got the stream. I don't mind that. That's kind of cool. That's cool. So hello, everyone. I'm Sue Liebert, and at my core, at my heart, as well as, these fabulous women that I'm here with, I too am a polymath. But at my actual core and at my absolute heart, I'm really an organizational anthropologist. And what that really just means is I spend my time studying how people, how culture and systems shape the way we work together. So what I'm most interested in is how can we really reimagine leadership in large, complex organizations for the 21st century? Not the old hierarchical models of command and control, but leadership that really feels human. You know, it's inclusive, it's collaborative, it's responsive, and it's able to bring the best out of people. And for me, it all comes down to let's start creating healthy organizations, places where there's trust, where there's belonging, where there's resilience, people are purposeful. And these aren't just now nice to haves. This is business as usual. It's part of everyday life. That's where I get a bit excited. Because what we know is when organizations are healthy, they don't just perform better, but they actually help to transform people's lives. And if we're transforming people's lives in our organizations, we're transforming communities. And if we're transforming community, then we're transforming wider society. And, you know, we're here today to really look at, you know, what does it mean to be human? And to be human for me is to absolutely live in relationship with ourselves, relationship with each other, and within the systems we create, and of course within the natural world that we all, you know, inhabit, and that sustains us. And that does mean then that we've got to start embracing complexity. It does mean we've got to start, you know, developing and embracing our capacity for creativity, and also, you know, recognizing that at times we're vulnerable. So let's bring some humanity into the way that we lead, shall we, and the way that we organize. And for me, I'm really excited because we're talking about humanity. We're talking about being human. And for me, to be human is to connect, it's to co-create, and it's to care for ourselves, care for each other, and care for the planet. So that's me. So
and that's the end of the session. Thank you. So you've
have a drum roll, please.
Caroline, over to you.
My name is Caroline Mayer-Toby. I'm the director and founder.
I muted you and then you were muted. So start again. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Hi, I'm Caroline Mayer-Toby. I'm the director and founder of the Institute of Small Islands. That's its name, yes. And what can I say? I was actually explaining what I do earlier today, and I realized quite regularly that while doing environmental justice and indigenous rights and, you know, kind of business and human rights intersection, on climate change, it kind of makes me a little bit of a geopolitical peace and security kind of observer. I wouldn't say analyst, but yeah, that's kind of what I follow. But I realize it's not from the global north's direction, it's from the global south. And I realize we need more of that right now. We need more of, and when I say global south, I include portions of the American public too, because I think we need to start unifying and connecting the dots. And it ties very deeply into what Sue and Tree are talking about in terms of, you know, looking at the large dots connecting, looking at the whole, looking at how it all boils down to affect grassroots movements. And you need to understand the histories, you need to understand the stories. And I think this is something that, you know, AI can only help with. This needs to be people-led. And I think that deeply connects to what we're going to talk about. So that's me in a very vague nutshell, but yeah, hey.
Okay. I forgot. I didn't really say what I do. So obviously, if you all know my name's Hannah. If you don't, this is mirrored, I think, right there. But it's really, I find it really hard actually to say what I do, because I guess for me, I'm just trying to create a world that we needed, people tell me they need, but what I found is that people feel safe around me. And what I realized is that when we ask people to go into discomfort, discomfort's cool for me, right? But I believe that everyone deserves safety, and this thing around unity is really, really important, because we've got to a way where it's either or, right? And we know where that comes from, where actually, how do we start to have more reflection, more complex and healing, right? So I'm also an activist. So how do I bring what I've learned from my activism, the courage, the strength, the bravery, but the community that has been built, and how do I start bringing that into organizations, institutions? And there is no one way to do that, but that's why I don't really have a fixed business model, because when I go in, I'm just here to help you where you need to get to. So sorry, Tony.
Yeah, that's why we don't need it. This is the
Right?
part that I'd like to totally tear down. And that's where that cultivate a polymathic mindset comes from, because we don't need to box ourselves in. We don't need to box ourselves in. We actually need to expand. And I think there was a time where you didn't need to put a label on yourself to say that I am, this is my area, this is my sector, this is this and that. You know, it was more like I learned about this, you learned about this, we learned, you know what I mean? It wasn't like this box we put ourselves in, you know. And it's very frustrating for me because I can say the same thing. I mean, of course I've got my elevator pitch honed now, but when I was starting out, figuring out, what do I do? What do I do? I know how I make people feel,
Yes.
which is the most important thing. Sometimes happy, sometimes irritated because of the authenticity that can come through. But I don't do anything, I am.
And that's it. So we're obviously, this session today, one of many, is I guess it's that in its interest. So what does it mean to be human? But I think the world asks us to perform in ways that they tell us is human, but actually they don't feel human. So we wanted to bring this discussion with something we started talking about. We wanted to bring this discussion here, and everything you just said, Trina. Like, I even was writing my website, and I remember doing a LinkedIn post about it, going, actually, I have for so long even defined myself as what I do in terms of not. And I was like, what do I want people to know? I want people to know that you're not going to work with anyone that will care more than I do, right? I'm not going to even let you be accountable for just ticking a box, because you're doing yourself a disservice. And I want you to know that I might not know everything, but I know people that do. But again, I'm going to really come in and give a shit about what you're doing and really want the best for all of you. So that's what I want you to know, not, you know, where I've worked or, you know, what award I might have won. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, showing up as your authentic self. Go ahead, Sue, sorry.
I'm going to say, number one, it is about showing up as your authentic self. I'm there. I'm with you. You know, you're just ahead of me there, Tree. You know, as usual. But also it is, you know, how those labels, you know, can restrict, and how, you know, sometimes when, you know, some of the leaders that I work with want to put down a particular label, but people just keep bouncing them back to it, you know. So it is about how we show up. It is about, you know, being, let's say, a bit more value led. Who am I showing up as? Who am I being? It's, you know, who do I want to show, you know, in the world, you know, my authentic, true self. That's how we need to show up. And again, it's that human connectivity. I'm a human being here, you know, to support, enable, you know, design, create, whatever it is. And I'm just going to bring, you know, my whole creativity, my whole skills, my whole experience. But beware of just the label, because I'll be drawing from a wellspring that's got a diverse set of experiences. Concern is when we label people as you're a this, or that where they were in their past is who they are today. And that's faulty for me. Sorry, Han.
I was just going to ask a question to everyone here. I think we've all had to step out of the system up to a certain extent to be able to do that. Now, there is no, I mean, I actually hate the term "be your authentic self," but you know, but not because of what it means, but because how it's been used, right? How it's actually been weaponized now.
It's been co-opted.
100%, right? So I haven't really walked, and if I did, I generally got made redundant suddenly, you know, because it became like something really wrong to care. Right. So I was like, and for me, justice has always been the fundamental current of what I believe. Something is wrong, it's wrong. I don't care who you are, it's wrong. And it was almost like the core part of me, not even just my authentic self or, you know, my pink and blue hair. This was like the core of me that was being asked to be put aside and not care, which was really difficult.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I mean, I think this is what is at stake right now because we are being led, and speaking very tentatively here and just diving straight in, by little tin gods right now, little strong men, you know, who think that they can topple us by doing what was done in the past when they had much worse social media. And well, actually, the gossip still flows, however gossip flows, you know. But right now, what they're trying to do is take over the world. Literally, like, we can look at this and see this happening. This is not me being melodramatic. And they're trying to take away the part of us that cares. They're trying to do the neighbor against neighbor scenario, and instilling fear is a big part of that. And this is where we have to tap into, you know, I don't even really like the word human. I've been having conversations about that term. I prefer the people, you know. I prefer coming from communities that identify as nations, indigenous peoples. Like, this is a term that I've thought a lot about because a lot has been put into that term in United Nations negotiations. How do we describe ourselves in these treaties? It's not peoples with a common P, it's peoples with a capital P. There are whole reasons behind it. How we define ourselves as human denotes individuality. I think we need to start thinking of ourselves as a people, common P, not capital P, a people, a unified people.
Well, you know, the
Say.
etymology of the word people is still designated as human as well. I mean, I'm big on language. One of the things that, yeah, that's one of the things that I really, we've talked about this offline, because in mind, body, spirit alignment, the mind creates the word and the word flows out in vibration to for us to co-create this reality, and in spirit. Okay, we are all like creating what's happening on either consciously or subconsciously. So the choice of your words matter so much, to the point where they defined education in a particular way in order to get you to box your mind in to make what they want us to make. Okay, so it's like,
I agree
I,
with you. And I
yeah,
counter. And I
yeah,
counter.
yeah, and we
Continue.
have,
I just have things to say afterwards. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, that is so important. I think also because I worked as a English teacher, traveling around the
That
world,
makes sense. That makes sense, right?
understanding the epistemological and root of words was a tool for me. And so if I could get somebody to memorize the etymology of something and where it came from Latin or Germanic or whatever, they would go, oh, that's connected to this word and this word and this word. And all of a sudden, there would be the floodgates of innate knowledge, DNA coded knowledge, would just come out. So,
I totally agree with you. And I counter and I say to you, you are working with the wrong framework. You are working with European languages. I'm saying take it completely out of that jurisdiction whatsoever and bring it firmly into the realm of our traditional ancestors, in the sense that, okay, I'm going to quote Joel Keane of the Gomeroi people in the Gomeroi family in, I'm going to say Australia because I can't remember exactly which part he's from. Sorry, Joel. But he is doing his PhD and he's working on, I don't want to reveal too much, but this notion, but I know he's talked about it, this notion of how his ancestors saw this concept of community, it's like they didn't even see individuality. It's like we have to completely, I'm not saying we need to go back to pre-Columbian days, although I think, yes, we should. I'm saying we need to realize that one's individuality comes into it, and you see this theme across the page with indigenous cultures, traditional indigenous cultures, of community and working together on a very visceral existential level against the elements, because this is where we have to get back to. Nobody wants to go there, just nobody wants to go there from the Western world, but that we got to go there, and this is where, because we can live at the comfy end of a supply chain, and I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying all of us, who do not live against the elements, because some of us do, and we must include them in this conversation. However, there you will find the essential meaning of the word community, because you can't exist by yourself in nature. You just can't. You will die. Very few people can.
And that's
I've
why I
talked
think
too much.
no, it's great. That's why I don't really like that the word self-care, like the concept of what self-care is now, because actually when I have been down on my ass and I can't get back up, that's when I need my community the most, right? I sometimes you can't self-care yourself out of it. And just what you were saying, Trina, with words and language, it's so important that we look at where that comes from, because empathy, like I'm an empath, right? And when I used to see things happening at work, I'd rather someone, like, obviously please don't, but I'd rather someone hit me than said something, because words like stick, right? And we know what we're unheal, a lot of what we unheal is words. It's really go. And I actually started to deep it this morning after I had like a voice note chat with Trina, was when those things happen, it wasn't just about my confidence, it wasn't about my ability. They were literally just trying to kill my spirit. Now, if I didn't have purpose, so essentially what I do is I help people find their purpose, because now I know what I need to do. You can say whatever you want to me. It's not going to stop me, right? Because I am so rooted that, like, even a thunderstorm is not, I know what I'm here to do. But all of those times where I was questioning myself, it was people really just trying to kill my spirit. And we don't talk about spirit enough.
Absolutely. And yeah, our spirit, because most people have connected that word to religion, okay? And that's a mistake, because the spirit actually is breath. That's what the word means, to breathe, to breathe life into something. That is spirit. And there's a lot of forces, let's just put it in that way, that are completely sucking us dry, taking our life force away. And so, man, when I think about languages, I speak 4 of them. I've been learning Sumerian for shits and giggles, because because I like the oldest. I'm always trying to get to the oldest thing, like, and in Sumerian, just to go back to Caroline was saying, the that's the oldest written language, right? Is people's is Lu. Lu. And I find it interesting because there's another word that describes our energy called loosh. And that there are forces taking our loosh, and that's our life force, what we do on a day-to-day life. We're giving it away. And so I've gotten in the habit of saying I do not consent. Okay. Because that, to me, being a human, just to kind of go back to the theme of what we're talking about, is to be sovereign. And I have a book, matter of fact, named Reclaiming Humanity, a Blueprint for Collective Healing and Resistance. Because it is within our healing, collective healing, that we actually resist. Okay. Yes. And most of us don't know we have the ability to not consent.
Absolutely. And it is something that we almost lose as children and a part of our socialization. And the power in, I do not consent to give my energy. I do not consent. And the other piece for me is I disentangle. So one of my pieces, my processes as I end a day is what am I disentangling myself from? Because walking through with more and more bindweed day in, day out, as we move in around different groups, different organizations, obviously, particularly in my case, if you're not careful, it becomes a little bit like limpet minds. So having those ways and those procedures, those rituals, as I call them, to disentangle and to replenish are absolutely essential if I'm going to show up and be able to do what it is that I do in the world.
And that's so true, Sue, because the journey that I've been on, clearly my life, but also the past 2 years, is being able to understand what I'm feeling. And I think I said it to you, Trina. I maybe you said as well. I said, like, I'm feeling this feeling today. And what is it? And I could quite clearly, I knew it. I said, it's not mine.
Yep.
Like, I can feel it, and I feel it so intensely. But now it's being able to differentiate between what is mine that I'm feeling and what is being an empath, what I feel with the energy in the earth, what I can feel from, somebody that might have just had a conversation with. But being able to separate what is mine and what isn't was a huge step for me.
Yeah. Knowing where I end and somebody else begins. This is not mine. This is yours. I choose not to take that. I can hear it. I will listen to it, but I am not taking it.
Right.
I do not consent to take on your energy. I do not consent to be in a box that you have placed me in. This is the thing, and this is the body element. This is a part of being able to recognize how you are in your body in those quiet times, in that silence that we're not allowed to have. Okay? That's where all of this external frequency, because we're all just frequency beings. That's where all this frequency, the routers, the cell phones, the external disruption hit our body, so we can't distinguish what's ours and what's theirs. So that's why the body, getting your vessel, the sacred vessel, aligned with your mind, aligned with your spirit is so vital, because once you do that, you know what's going on. You can say, no, thank you. That's not mine. No, thank you.
I think even before, just knowing, because I used to feel loads. Like, I'm really intuitive and I feel it physically, so I used to feel loads. But I would just be thinking, like, what is wrong with me? What is going on? I actually feel quite calm today. What's happening? But just to know what was mine and what wasn't, that in itself was the start of something like. And I'm not fully there yet. Don't get me wrong, but it really allowed me to understand from a different perspective, because I used to be really. I've got chronic pain, but for the first time, I was like, no, actually, my spirit is tired. Like, my soul, like, this isn't my body can keep going if it needs to. It's used to that, but something around, my mind was my mind operates fantastically in chaos. So I was like, it was my spirit and it was my soul that was really tired. It was out of energy to kind of give.
See, that's a pattern there. That's a pattern that you're repeating, a trauma pattern, when you say that your mind thrives in chaos. And we're not going to go into all of that there, but I think we do that a lot to ourselves, where we don't want to give ourselves the nourishing that we need, and we operate. Oh, okay, all right. I'll stop. But yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. This is the first month, so the month of August. I have given myself to, tie up loose ends, to rest, but without making myself feel like this is a rest, you must rest. If I fancy it, it's been giving myself a time to do things like this, which is my passion, and it's still part of what I want to do, but it's been a beautiful journey to do it. So I gave myself that permission to just be like, well, you know what, you have 100% survival rate so far, you'll be all right. And actually it's been, you know, I think Frida was ringing me. I was like, sorry, Frida, I didn't wake up till like 10:30 today because I can't.
No.
That's
I
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
but I didn't part of a system to just create that system for myself where I am the person that is hard on me then, right? I didn't that's not what I did it for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Approach
Well,
it with mischief and joy as well. Like, I'm gonna do
One thing I
this.
do is it
Got to
is
be
yes.
playful. Got to be playful.
Always. Always. And
Particularly in a world that is very fragile at the moment, and there's a lot of fragility and a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, is that, you know, in part of that, looking after and connecting and looking after ourselves, each other and the planet, but looking after ourselves is, we need some things that are light. We need some conversations with like-minded spirits. We need that, you know, to nurture ourselves. Otherwise, this vessel will just run out too soon, too soon.
exactly.
We are the light.
Exactly.
We are the light. I remember when I first started and I was not in a great place, really, really struggling, couldn't see the wood for the trees. A friend of mine, Dean, if you're listening, hey Dean, said to me, Hannah, if you can't, your job, the only job is for you to be the light. For you to, when you think you can't do anything else, be the light. You are the light, and that is the strongest power that you have, and raise the frequency. So in
Exactly.
those days, I'm like, okay, if I'm doing this, if everyone is in low vibration, I just maybe need to be me and bring them, maybe just need to make them laugh. Maybe I need, whatever that is, whatever we all have that within us, but what is it that we're going to give to someone else to just raise that vibration?
We're just gonna exist in that vibration, because again, the choice is always the individual's. You know what I mean? And it's like, we were talking about this earlier. If I was the type of coach that was constantly exerting my energy to lift somebody else up, I would be depleted after every single session. It wouldn't work. Okay. So, what my job is to guide people to their own light. And first of all, acknowledge where they're at right now. Because I think a lot of us are in that go mode, that programming that we must always be productive. Okay. But it's actually in a quiet stillness that you're the most productive, because that's when the great ideas come.
100.
That's why COVID and all this stuff backfired. Woo! Backfired. Everybody went into their houses. They said, "You mean I don't have to deal with this coworker's energy who is always attacking me? I don't have to deal with this domineering boss. Oh my God, I'm already done with my work. What's going on here?" You got some peace. That's what you got. And so I think, of course, there are other aspects that happened. But I think one of the things that backfired was a lot of people said, you know what? I don't need to do this anymore. I don't have to operate at 110. You know what I mean? I
One
just
of the
can be
things
me.
I am loving about Gen Z is that mindset.
Yeah.
And that mindset around, yes, I want to be productive. Yes, I want to work. Yes, I want to contribute. However, I am not going to come in to an organization that is, you know, still structured, as our beautiful friend who couldn't be here today, Miriam, would say, you know, structured around, you know, that the masculine, the organization structured around the masculine, the hierarchies, the system. They're just going, no. I need time away physically from that workspace. I do need time away from my screen. I need to be far more holistic. And they're calling it out. And what's been really interesting to see the fractiousness within organizations where, you know, baby boomers have been doing baby boomers like myself, in fairness, have been turned around and go, what do you mean you're not going to come in? Or what do you mean you want to start work at 11 o'clock? No, our working hours are from this. I'm loving this, forcing us to really think about how we do work differently, how we live differently. Sorry, Han.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the question is that, so like that's a part of what I kind of say to organizations, like, you literally won't have an organization, right? Because at some point none of us are going to be here. We're understanding where they're coming. So I'm like, is that not enough? Like, but from a human perspective, but at the same time, people are saying it loud and clear. But this is where we go back to actually who's running those organizations. What are they running from? Ego, power? What is it? Because it's like,
Yes.
would you rather continue the way you are, or would you rather go into a bit of discomfort, take some advice from somebody that might not look like you and might know a bit more than you, and actually have an organization in 5 years? Like,
But
literally,
darling, they don't care. They don't want that. There's no incentive in that for them. Like
exactly.
Well,
at
I've got to
all, the
counter
very end
that.
of the day.
I've got to counter that. So who's the they? I listen to a lot of leaders who right now are asking a whole heap of questions around recognizing that, the world's changed. We've got multiple generations, and they're asking that, how are we going to do this differently? Yes, there are individuals that have hunkered down and said, right, this is how we've always done it. But guess what? Those organizations are losing people in droves.
But it's not just adding another program, though, is it, Sue? Like,
No.
this isn't like we have to dismantle the whole freaking system and start again, because all you're going to do is go, okay, we're going to do, you know what? Let's have a Gen Z ERG, and let's have a Gen Z policy, and let's have a Gen Z development program.
Let's start using that technology that the technocrats so pride themselves on, and allow us to be free, because what they really want is the slavery. They want to, we're all just operating in a servitude slavery position, totally not acknowledging that we're the power behind the whole system.
It's a
We're
complete
not up against
reframing
Sheila
now.
from accounts, right, anymore. We're up against technology, right? So people are not scared that someone's going to, they're literally like, I can, and if I'm not more productive and I don't prove that I can work faster than a piece of tech and do better, then what's the use of me, right? That's literally kind of where we're getting to. We're getting to a point where we're having so much coming at us from a distraction point of view very, very quickly. We're like sound bites, like 1 minute videos thrown at us, but then we also have to survive. So it keeps us really busy. Everyone's exhausted,
They need us exhausted. They need us busy. So we buy the comfort foods, we buy the comfort drinks, we buy the comfort vacations, and we go back to the race. They need us
Keeps us on the treadmill.
consuming. They need us consuming, because once we realize that we can opt out of that, grow our own food, live like we're on a holiday most of our lives, because we don't need to do the backbreaking labor if we just actually learn the tips and tricks of people who have been living in millennia with, in harmony for millennia. You can just walk out to your pharmacy, and then you walk out to your grocery, and you maintain it throughout the year. But no, how can you make a profit off of that? You know who benefits? The little people.
I don't even think it's about profit anymore. Oops, sorry, Sue, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and that's what COVID taught a lot of people.
Exactly.
Press pause and went, oh dear, no, I am not going back to that. No matter how difficult and tough it is.
And they are wrenching us back to it with all the supply chain issues now, with all the money going up and everything going up, and war, and how convenient. 6 birds with one stone.
And we never really needed them. That's the part. They had to basically insulate us, make us, what is the word that when you constrict
False
something?
flag operations.
Yeah, they kept pushing.
Can you say that again? Because I found that button again. Can you do it again? Say what they said. We don't really need what? Sorry, can you say it?
We don't really need them. And we never needed them. And like what Caroline just said, go out. I have my own garden. I have my own medicine cabinet. I have, what it is that constant fear that Sue talked about, and I call fear fake evidence appearing real. It's all phony. It's all a perpetuation of lies over and over and over. They're very, very deceitful. Even our money has no real value. We live in a debt system. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And everything is based on this illusion that we are volunteering to create. So take it back. Take your consent back and stop consenting to your own slavery. You know, everybody focuses on, the melanated folks when that word comes to mind, but no, it's everyone. Absolutely everyone. Because the moment you saw a difference between our skin tones, you became a slave, you know? So this goes back to antiquity. Antiquity. So what they did and what they still do
In
is
a
they
very
cut off the
real
food.
way.
Yeah, they cut off the food chains. So what they did is they killed the native people because they wanted to take their land, but they also wanted to take their tech. And their tech was how to grow and sustain themselves without, dying
But
off.
they were lazy and illiterate and they burned the books. And then, of course,
Exactly.
people wouldn't talk and all those kind of things.
So-
And they lost the
Exactly.
knowledge. When you think of what they burned
They
in the
didn't lose it.
manuscript
It's all in the
essays,
Vatican. They didn't lose
huh?
nothing. I talk about
I'm
that in
gonna
my
say,
book too.
I
They burned
say
the
the book
food.
coming.
They
The
burned
book
the
coming.
food.
It's in
Everyone
there.
buy Trina's book. If you, oh, sorry, this. Buy Trina's book. It's fantastic.
No, I'm really not. I'm not trying to sell the book. I'm just
No,
saying
it's
I did a
a
lot
great
of
book.
research.
No, but like the
It's a great
Kifus,
book.
for example, of the Incas, for example, they didn't even realize that was a language because it was based on knots. So a lot of them were just burned. Like they're not, there's knowledge that we don't even understand was knowledge. You know what I mean? And then a lot of the knowledge would have been oral tradition too, which
Yeah.
was in the heads of people. And that, when you think of the mountains of knowledge lost, the Vatican is kind of like a last hope. Empty the Vatican.
Hmm. Well, they
I'm
burned down
mindful.
Alexandria for
I'm
that.
going to chime in because I'm mindful. We're using lots of theys and theys, and we've named one organisation, which is the Vatican. There are others.
Oh
know,
gosh, yes.
So I would
Smithsonian.
hate for everybody to walk away and think that, all of the theys generalization there is just the Vatican. It isn't.
No,
British
no.
Museum.
We're talking about
Smithsonian.
Britain. We're talking about we're talking
Big
about
colonizers, big
Roman
colonizers.
empires, the Dutch. Here's the thing, and what I have found in my research is that everybody thinks that we have different countries, but we don't. We have one cult that has embassies at the head of each country. So those people. They're very well organized. Okay. So, what we want to look at is just like, let's look at BlackRock. Let's look at the current occupation in Gaza, who's controlling the United States. Let's talk and Britain. Let's just put that. This has been around. This cult has been around since the beginning of time. They just keep changing faces. And they keep on putting different masks on and different cultures on. And what they want us to do is forget, go back to sleep, hopefully work up to, what is the average life expectancy, 75, 76 now? And then press reset and come back again. And I say come back again because as a Buddhist, I believe in reincarnation. Yeah. So
listen, I am mindful of time,
It's
and
gone really quick.
it's gone very, very quickly. So we're going to have to start to wrap this up.
wow, that was fast.
So Hannah, how are you going to just bring this?
I want to say one thing before we go. I want to say one
Caroline.
thing before we go. We need to understand different ways of living and thinking and understand that there are more realms that exist, that there's a spirit realm that lives right next to us. and that we need to protect our energy, tapping back into what we were saying, Sue and Hannah. And, you know, there's this woman, I can't remember her name, who says being an empath and feeling all the feels is actually being a sloppy thinker. So you need to control the permeability of your walls, of your energy.
That's right.
And I just want to, oh, because we talked about some pretty heavy things. So,
But I don't think that we're
protecting the energy.
quite ending yet, though. We're not quite ending yet.
This is so the whole conversation and what we just talked about with protecting the energy. So I just did a little bit of a clearing, that's all. But continue. Just always
So-
remember to contain your space.
Mm-hmm.
I
Always.
think thank you so much for that, Caroline. It's also everything we're doing here is really about talking to people about actually everything. And my biggest journey, and I know everybody here, it's what we need is within ourselves, right? And
Absolutely.
again, the system has been created. Trina was like, Hannah, what are you stressing for? Money is energy. And as soon as I started thinking about it as energy, and I was like, I'm trying to liberate myself from everything up in here, but I'm still letting that control. It's just another way to control how I'm feeling, the fear. It's like you said, Sue, that fear element comes in straight away and you haven't paid a bill, what's going to happen? But when I changed my thinking, so every session, for everyone that's joining us now, we are going to do a bit of our takeaways of what we've taken away and what we hope you've taken away. We realised it was a lot shorter than we thought it'd be. But also I want each of us to dear me yourself. So whether that is the past you, the present you, or the future you, just one line, just a message to yourself about being human, whether that's what you've been taught, but just a dear me. So Trina, over to you.
Oh boy, I was just kind of like running through the 15 thoughts that just went through my head when you said that. And I say this to a lot of people actually, because when I have a think where I say, when I remind you, I remind myself. You are so much more than you know. You are so much more than what they told you. And to walk and stand in your power, it shall never fail you.
Is that your past me, your present me, or your future me, or all?
I don't, it's time is an illusion, so it's all of me.
I love that. I love that. Also, yeah, time is not a thing either. What did I say the other day? I said, I'm going to log on and start the call in 3 minutes. I was like, not that time is real or anything. 3 minute chance. Dude, do you want to go next?
Yeah. So to honour our good friend and sister that's not here, Miriam, she recommended a book. I'm recommending a book. And this, maybe not be able to see it.
I can't see it. Oh, you gotta read it. It's faded into the background perfectly. Okay, there it is. There it is.
And this book is called Letters to Myself by Melissa Rouse. And there, for me, is a lovely little verse in there. And it says, who you choose to be now says more about you than your past does. So my big thing is, we're living a lot of us in our filter bubbles. I like to get into lots of different groups, lots of different people, hear lots of views. And the key thing for me is, you know what? I'm not defined by my past. And that lovely little verse is who you choose to be now. Who am I today going forward? Not about who I was back then. Don't hold me back there, And so therefore moving around different groups and different circles allows me just to keep evolving and keep moving and keep growing. I'm a biomimic at the end of the day. I am of nature. So I am growing and I'm evolving. So who you choose to be now says more about you than your past does, is mine.
Yeah,
great. Brilliant.
And is that to all of you or present you?
All of me.
Yeah, we're just doing that now. It's really, you've set the theme now.
I told you time is an illusion. There is no such thing as past, present, and future. Well, present, just all of it. because there's multiple versions of yourself existing right now in this cosm of source. So
absolutely agree. Caroline, you're up.
Okay, you're gonna have to remind me what it initially was and what it is now.
So your dear me to yourself about being human.
what would you say?
Past you, present. Oh, well, time is just okay. I'm going to take that away. Just to you, whatever version of you.
I'm gonna say this to my younger version of myself. It's not as hard as it seems. I used to fight with a lot of notions of what should be because I just lived in elemental opposition to this structure, but I didn't realize I was growing up in the steel cage of colonialism on this island in a convent, you know? And I felt very out of place, like stuck out like a sore thumb. And it was very hard. And I want to say to that teenager, you know, it gets easier when you realize that you don't have to jam yourself into some preconceived notion of who you are. This world is fluid. All of those institutions are made by handshakes. They're made by agreements. Own your own business to show yourself how the world is made. You'd be shocked. You'd be like, what do you mean? What do you mean I could just create this out of thin air? What are you talking about? That's kind of how this works. You need the funding. You need somebody to agree with you. It's a handshake. You need the right handshake. But that's how this world has been built. This is a labyrinth. Take off the roofs and you'll see that this is a labyrinth. You'll see that this is a hologram. It really is. It's all just created from our minds. And so that will ease you very, very strongly. It might blow your mind and break it first, but it will ease you. And I'm trying to train my kids while they have to live in this matrix, these things. And I realize it is completely in opposition and I might break their minds, but I still have to try without breaking their minds. And yeah, that's it.
The only way you break a child's mind is to cage it.
And give it those false labels.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I also have black kids, so I also need them not to be arrested. And my son will be like, what do you mean
I
the police separated? This is awesome.
I understand.
That's a whole different topic, right?
That's
That's
another
a whole nother topic.
But Hannah, what's yours?
I think this is going to be to like all versions of me, but I think to the core of this younger version of me, because I have to go back to root cause. And I think for me, it's that you're not superhuman. Like, it's okay to feel just your feelings and not think about how your feelings and you being human is going to impact others. So you hold theirs, you hold yours. So I feel what I feel. And if that means I'm annoyed at you, and that means that, you know, whatever it is, I think even probably in present me, I don't give myself the space to feel like I am human and I can just feel, and that I'm not I know I'm awesome, but I'm not a superhuman. Like, I feel the same things that actually more, probably maybe even more deeply than everyone else. So I don't have to shove my shit to a side to think about somebody else. It's okay to think about me and be human.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's great. So yeah, we're all here, and all we need to do is take down the walls that we've been conditioned to put up to reconnect with each other, you know? And most of those walls are created in our minds to protect ourselves. But if you already know that you're protected, you don't need the walls. You're naturally protected by who you are, your authentic self. But yeah, there's everything. Going back to our kids, Sue, the one thing I tell my son all the time is all this shit is fake. Do what you want to do. It's all fake. everything that you're learning is it's not necessarily true. It's a version of truth that benefits a few.
And everything you need is inside yourself. If you
Yeah.
just give yourself the space and the kindness to hear it, it's in there. You'll know what to do next.
Yeah.
But I will counter. As I do, I will counter the be yourself, do yourself, whatever. Is that we've got people doing that right now, and
True.
you know what? That's making this world very fragile and very uncomfortable right now.
True.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
But that's the
It's
community. Community is so important, because when you're out there doing that for yourself,
yeah. Yeah.
it's tough.
It's a different feeling what you're talking about though.
Yeah.
That's the dark triad. That's the Machiavellian and the narcissistic and the, you know,
That's not considering community.
No,
yeah, not at
agree.
all.
I'd agree. So the key thing is that, you know, back to where we started about the power of language, you know, within a context, within a substrate, these statements absolutely resonate, have power, and will liberate and make a difference. But for some people, they will hear that gives them license to behave in a way that is antisocial, inappropriate, and downright not good for community or for individuals.
Right.
But
And I would
problem
say
is
that those people,
they-
oops, sorry.
Go ahead, love. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I think those people are people that I deal with on a daily basis, is that they're in a lot of pain, and
Yeah.
that is their wall. They don't really know, they don't timid no shade, know thyself. What they do is they respond because that's what the system traumatizes the majority of people to do. And that's so different than operating from a place of self-love and self-knowledge.
Well,
Yeah.
they're different. I mean, there are different ways you can interpret what Sue is saying, in the sense of, are we talking about the Trumps, or are we talking about the kids in the projects or with the ASBOs who are just like trying to rebel against a system that is designed to break them? And you know, these are different. These
Yeah.
are same men, same boys, different classes and different
Mhm.
opportunities and different systems and structures. And some of them are incarcerated, and some of them are given free reign. So
Yeah.
it all goes back to
But that's
God,
what I mean by
so
context.
Yeah. So basically, if you're one of them, that doesn't give you a license to be a
Correct.
paid in
We
the
are
ass.
not
So
giving you permission for
this
that.
is
But
not
this
your
is the thing. This
permission.
is the thing. We need to create spaces for those young boys who are incarcerated in their very society, in their urban deserts, to and wherever they are in their shanty towns, to this is, we need to create, like, okay, I can't raise my kids to be indigenous in this in any sort of pre-Columbian way, which distresses me to no end, because the world has changed so much that we've now come to this end state, right? Of my culture, where there's like, I don't know, a couple thousand left. So it's depressing, but it says to me that we need to now firmly more than ever and urgently create new spaces for people. We need to do what was being done through the pandemic, and we need to fight for that space, because you realize that was brutally repressed and we just conceded to it. They're like, come back to work, and we were like, okay, because your rents need to be like filled up. Like, why? You know what I
And
mean?
that is
We
so
need
And
to
Caroline,
protect
on that, another conversation,
because
and
we
we're coming up to the hour. So Hannah.
I will just say one quote that just came to my head, and it is an African proverb, and it says, "The child that is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth." I think
That
that is
part.
right.
And on that note,
I have got an outro video. I don't know how to do this. Wish me luck. You'll see it.
so
But
thank you to everybody that showed up.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for commenting,
thanks,
encouraging
everybody.
us.
Right, let's try this. Wish me luck.
You're so funny. Bye.
Oh, hang on. She says, how do I put this on? Do I end the stream? Anybody in the comments? Okay,
I know how to do it. You have
Get them
to.
out of their misery.
You go.
end
There's
it.
a little box on the side. You know where you did the outro, the intro.
yeah, but how do I get the outro to play?
Just click on it.
You say that. Like, now you're making me look silly.
No, you just clicked on it.
Over an hour, and I'm sure people are stepping away.
I love you guys.
I will try and end the stream. If not, I will share it on our LinkedIn. Follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube. We have our own pages now. Go to our link tree, find out more about us. And thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thanks for coming.
Everyone.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
I wrote a letter to myself. Said you can do better all by yourself. Don't settle for stones, you deserve a mountain. Don't settle for drops, you deserve a fountain.